Well, sweet Betty Lou in a bun. Somebody pinch me. Have I finally stumbled upon an original and good film in the year of our Lord, 2024? Because brothers Colin and Cameron Cairns have breathed fresh new life into the found footage horror genre with their Faustian tale of a struggling talk show host summoning the Prince of Darkness himself in the very good Late Night with the Devil. Late Night with the Devil presents itself as an unearthed recording of a late-night talk show long buried in a network vault that careens right off the rails into the very heart of hell itself. Now, the year is 1977, and it's Halloween night. The show is called Night Owls. And what we're about to bear witness to is a desperate for ratings talk show host, Jack Delroy. It really played brilliantly here by David Dastmalchian, who wants to shock and spook the shit out of America with an open show invitation to the very devil himself. Now, his collection of guests will include possibly the worst, most charlatan psychic this side of Sylvia Browne, the great Christo. As well, a former magician, now turned debunker of psychic phenomenon, Carmichael Haig, essentially playing a creepier, ruder version of the amazing Randy. And parapsychologist Dr. June Ross Mitchell, along with the subject of her best-selling book, Conversations with the Devil, her patient, a demon-possessed teen named Lily, played to absolute perfection here by Ingrid Torelli, who is a very unnerving penchant for staring directly into the camera at us for seconds that feel like hours. The sibling directors Colin and Cameron Cairns have created a stunningly accurate homage to an era that so shamelessly embraced polyester and that vile non-color otherwise known as tan. This is a time of obscenely decorated 4 color-tone sets with schmaltzy, leisure-suited hosts puking out one cringe-inducing dad joke after another. Or better, slathering a national audience with the kind of sincereless platitudes you would just expect to hear from a used car salesman named Flip. Now, all to a studio audience of velour-sweatered, bell-bottomed wearing dolts who freely laugh and applaud to pretty much any shit joke that's bolstered with a lit applause sign. Now, this is the era of ass clowns like Mike Douglas, Merv Griffin, and Dick Cavett, pulling out all the stops and failed attempts to dethrone late-night king Johnny Carson. The cast here is really good, but it's really David Dastmalchian who does the heavy lifting in a masterful performance as Jack Delroy, the desperate host of Night Owls. A Dastmalchian who looks like the grown-up version of the type of kid I used to torment in school is that actor that goes by the name of, oh yeah, that creepy guy from, a multitude of flicks where he plays a minor role. Well, look, here, given the chance to play the lead, Dastmalchian knocks it out of the park as he balances the jovial on-screen persona of Jack Delroy with the warts and all real Jack seen during commercial breaks backstage. Now, this Jack is so desperate to salvage his career, so blinded by ambition, that he's only too happy to blow past one paranormal gut check moment after another. Consequences be damned. For Jack, if the devil himself helps him blow past Carson in the ratings, then fuck it! Welcome to the show, Captain Beelzebub. Now, there's a great sequence we see from an earlier Night Owls episode where Jack has on his terminally ill wife as a guest. Now, as she tearfully opens up to a national television audience of the love she feels for her husband, Dastmalchian conveys a warped mixture of genuine sadness and grief with the contemptible glee of a showman who realizes he's just hit ratings gold. So, as previously mentioned, the rest of the cast is quite good as well. From Jack's befuddled announcer Gus, played by Rhys Autry, who desperately wants to pump the brakes on the approaching bloody train wreck that everyone else seems blind to. Now, by film's climax, faced with the leering red eyes of the devil himself, the filmmakers tip a hat to the exorcist by having Gus produce a crucifix, all the while hollering, "The power of Christ compels you!" Ian Bliss, as famed paranormal debunker Carmichael Hunt, lends the right level of skepticism and outrage as he swears all of these occurrences are the result of mass hypnosis and excellent stagecraft. And again, I have to mention Ingrid Torelli as the possessed Lily. She's the kind of wide-eyed, permagrin young lady that would fit in perfectly with the gals of the Manson clan. Now, this actress just creeps the absolute shit out of me. Bravo! So at this point, you might be asking, whoa, who's this guy who's replaced Mr. Crap on Everything, Chet le Hammer? Well, don't you worry, folks. I'm still more than happy to take a power dump on any piss-poor filmmaking as I see it. And Late Night with the Devil doesn't completely evade my blowtorch, as it commits a misstep of Carl Wallenda-esque proportions. Now, the directors have established the parameters of this universe early on. Now, what we're about to watch is the assembled footage of a television broadcast that was long since buried by the network, making this essentially a faux documentary. Now, we start with a quick montage about the history of the show and Jack's involvement, with an Illuminati-type satanic cult populated by Hollywood elites. Yeah, what else is new? And then we're off to watch the grainy TV-formatted videotape of the show. And this carries on until the filmmakers elect to break out of this universe for, well, outright convenience in showing the commercial break backstage drama going on between Jack, his agent, and various guests. Now, these segments are all in black and white and are clearly filmed with multiple cameras. Now, this is just flat out lazy, folks. I know I'm supposed to believe that this is footage taken from behind the scenes, but believe me, nobody with an IQ above a coffee mug could possibly buy this. I mean, why on earth would you first of all have multiple cameramen filming shit backstage and doing so with black and white film? This is 1977, not 37. Look, I'm not a huge stickler here, but this is just a suspension of disbelief I'm completely unable to make. And it just jars you out of the scary authenticity that has been so expertly concocted in the previous TV clips. It's quite clear these guys simply didn't have the sack to carry through on their initial premise. Now, if a creative genius like, well, say me, had made this, I would have rigidly stayed within the constraints of found footage and only shown production stills with subtitled, barely audible sound recordings of the goings-on, like it was incidentally captured by various mics on the set. Maybe even a little grainy security cam footage would work. Yeah, maybe, right? Look, forcing an audience to use its imagination to fill in the blanks with only a scratchy recording is going to feel way more authentic and scary than just a half-hearted bullshit attempt to stay within the universe. Now, this is also true in the film's final act, as we are now seemingly existing in the actual headspace or point of view of Jack as he finds himself quite literally in talk show hell. I mean, I get that the writers want a cool ending, but what happened to the found footage thing, boys? Well, it's too bad. This film had the potential to be something really extraordinary. Anywho, there's still so much to admire here. Look, the horror of Late Night with the Devil, it doesn't arrive in a collection of cheap jump scares or time-worn horror tropes, but in its slow burn approach. An icy cold worm of dread that slithers its way into your brain, giving you that palm-sweaty expectation that something really fucking horrific is most certainly on its way. Late Night with the Devil shares a characteristic with some of the greatest horror films ever released, be it The Exorcist, The Shining, Alien, or even Hereditary. Now, these are films that really aren't self-aware of the genre in which they exist. Horror films that pay no mind to the trappings and conventions of what most people would ostensibly expect. Now, these are films that have really interesting stories to tell and are populated with multidimensional characters. They simply take their time. There's no rush to make you scream, just a slow, hypnotic wind-up of a story that just happens to have some scary as shit elements to it. Late Night with the Devil is currently playing in a theater near you and gets an acid test rating of pretty good shit. That is all.